Hi everybody, this is the investing teacher, high school science teacher, teaching others how to invest. In this video I'm going to do a small account challenge. We're going to be using $3,000, plus I'll be adding about $200 a month into it. And I'm only going to be using cash secured puts, using spreads, and poor man's covered calls. Two main strategies that are helpful for small accounts. As you can see in the background, I'm back into teacher mode a little bit. Going to be teaching integrated physics and chemistry along with regular chemistry. So getting back to school mode, but definitely want to be able to teach you guys how to use different options to increase your option profits. Is that a pun, option? Ah. Like and subscribe like always, definitely helps out the channel, and let's get right to it. Okay, so we're going to go over a small account challenge. Sorry, I think my microphone setting messed up on that video, but I'm on the better mic now. Hopefully you can hear me better. We're going to be starting with $3,000 that I decided to put in my regular brokerage account. Now, this is after being able to max out my Roth IRAs, which I prefer to do first, because I'm just using a regular brokerage account using Thinkorswim from TD Ameritrade, which has a lot of different settings and parameters you can look at, and definitely like the new brokerage that I'm using for this particular challenge. They are owned by Schwab, so maybe they will be adding Schwab Street Smart Edge into it, integrating it at some point. We're going to be adding about $200 a month, but this might change depending on if I could save more money. Might be able to put more, but I'm going to put at least $200 a month. And I'm only going to be using the poor man's covered call. There was a video made last week if you want to refer to it. And credit spreads. Okay, credit spreads means I'm going to be collecting money when I start the position. So for poor man's covered calls and credit spreads, I could leverage options even more than simply doing, say, a covered call where I buy 100 shares of stock and then have to sell calls on it. And we'll see in the examples that I have, it uses a lot less money, smaller amounts of money that I could use in order to start these positions. Definitely less money than buying 100 shares or a full cash secured put, as you'll see in the examples. First one we have is for DBX, not DBC. It's Dropbox. On 7/27, I bought a January 2022 call for 25 strike price, and it cost $675. This was pretty far in the money. You don't want to be doing out of the money or at the money poor man covered calls, because then if it goes down, that option might be worthless. The stock price was around 29 or so at the time. I'm sorry, 30.6. There we go. So again, pretty far in the money. Instead of 30.6, I went to 25. It cost me $675 to do this. If I wanted to do a regular covered call, I would have had to spend 30.6 times 100 for 100 shares, or $3,600. But right now I'm only using $675. Again, pretty helpful for a small account, because I wouldn't have been able to do this position with the 3,000 that I had. In this case, I sold a covered call. So essentially sold a call in a shorter expiration to August 20th instead of January of next year. Sold it at 33 strike price, bit of a cushion up from 30.6, and I made $50 in premium from it. On 8/06, the stock is now at 32.71. It could change when you're watching this video, but it did shoot up about $2 from the day before because of earning report. Looks good. I'm going to decide what to do next in the next video. I'm not quite sure yet, because it's not at 33 yet, so the short call is not in the money, but it might easily reach in the money. And then at that point, it could be near a max profit in that situation, because that short call's delta will be near 100. And then the long call delta that I bought in my leap is going to be less than that. So I will be actually losing a little bit of money as it goes up. However, the implied volatility of DBX is not huge. So I'm going to decide what to do. Check in on the next video and we'll see what happens. However, I do have a profit of about $43.18 in about a week time. 43.18 over 675, I'll definitely take that. It's about a 7% gain in a week. Next, I'm going to be doing credit spreads. The strategy is to sell a call or sell a put out of the money, but then buy a call or a put more out of the money, so even further away. The difference of these will be the net credit that you receive from those premiums. What's good is it uses up less cash than a cash secured put with that bought put. However, it is a little tougher to manage, especially if the stock price of your sold put goes in the money. The difference of those strike prices you have to consider. The width of it is the amount that you could possibly lose in the transaction. It's a little bit tougher to manage, but as you'll see in these examples, we use a lot less buying power. Recently, I did an NCTY credit put spread. I actually gave this to my Patreon members. If you're interested in getting these recommendations, do 2 every day. So join on the link down below, patreon.com/investingteacher. On 803, just a few days ago, sold an 820 NCTY put at 7.5 for $23. This was the recommendation that I actually gave to members. I initially thought it would be about 0.2, but I was able to get a little bit more on a slight downturn. So I went up to 0.23. Now, normally you could do this as a $750 transaction because you're holding 100 shares in a cash secured put. But in my small account challenge, I actually didn't have $750. So I was like, is there a way that I could still do this trade? And there was. I bought a 820 put at only $2.50. There's a little bit of protection there, and it only cost me $3 to do it. But what was neat about this was the difference of these strikes, 7.5 minus 2.5, or $5, ended up being what I need, 5 times 100 or $500. And I actually had a little over $500 in my brokerage, so I was able to do this transaction. But it actually denied me trying to just sell the straight cash secured put at $750. I started with a net credit of $20 from the difference of the premiums. And then literally 2 days later, I closed the transaction at just $10. That's a $10 profit off only $500 that I had to put up. And that's 2% in 2 days. That's how it's done here, guys. It's only $10 doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you're on a small account challenge, I'll take $10 off 500 in 2 days all the time, because then your account will grow tremendously if you could keep that trades up over and over again. Here's 2 more that I'm currently in. They're not closed yet. On 7:30, I decided to do a put credit spread on XOXL. The stock, or the ETF in this case, was 43.88 at the time. I sold a put for 9.17, so I went 2 months out on this one about. At a 30 strike price, pretty good cushion from the 43.88, made $79 in premium. I also bought a put the same date at 25 for cost me $42. Your net credit will be the difference of those premiums. You got a net credit of $37 in the transaction. Now, the main difference is I was only needing to put up $500. That is the width of the strike prices. You go from 30 to 25 and subtract, it's a $500 width, and that's all I needed in my brokerage account. If I didn't buy that put, and I simply sold a 30 cash secured put, I would have needed $3,000 in the account. And I normally do this in my Roth IRA, but in this case, I didn't have enough money in my regular small account challenge, so I decided to do the credit spread. I'm going to decide to buy to close this when it hits about $15, trying to get a little over 50% in total premium collected on this one. And it is out into September, so it could take a few more weeks before this happens. XOXL still in good shape, much higher than the 30 strike price. I'm doing a more recent one on IWM. 805, IWM was 221.84. I decided to sell a 210 put for a week out, and that made me $35 in premium. A decent amount of difference, 11.84 difference of the ETF prices. Now, in order to get into the transaction, again, bought a 205 put, 5 width of the strike. Same date, cost me $16 to do it. The net credit subtract is $19 off of $500. But I didn't have $22,184. I only used $500. It's the width of the spreads. And actually, you don't even need quite $500 because you do get a net credit of $19. So you would need about $481 in order to do this transaction. Again, normally I wouldn't be able to do IWM. It's way too expensive for me. But using these credit spreads is a nice way to benefit from it. All right, guys. So again, small account challenge. See how much I could grow this thing. If you're interested, you could do a small account as well. It's a few grand, and then do these credit spreads, poor man cover calls. If you need any help with any of those positions, leave a comment on the YouTube videos below, or you could also join the Patreon. Description is down below there, and you could ask for one-on-one help. Again, the investing teacher, high school science teacher, teaching others how to invest. Be good out there, make good money, and I'll talk to you guys next time.